city overflowing with bustling crowds, and the buzz is at its highest in the month of September. Together with the United Nations General Assembly, it's as if the entire world has flown in on September 24th, 2012, while New York, like the rest of the world, was busy battling over issues like the hate film and provocations, the nuclear program in Iran, the worldwide economic crisis, and the recent massacre that took place in Syria. The Fountain and Peace Islands Institute were working together to focus on an issue lying at the very center of all of these current problems in the world: education. Organized in cooperation with Baruch College, Quinnipiac University, New York Institute of Technology, Yale University, and the Alliance for Shared Values, the Peacebuilding Through Education Conference held in New York featured education ministers from the Philippines, Tanzania, and the state of New Jersey, and respected academics from South Africa, England, Northern Ireland, Switzerland, Turkey, and the United States. We recognized many different institutions for their best practices in peace building and exhibited winning images of the Peace in a Frame photography competition, selected from over 400 submissions. This was not a purely academic event, but rather a harmonious combination of theory and practice inspired by a philosophy of positive action.
Dear guests and organizers, thank you for your kind invitation to the Peacebuilding Through Education Conference, and I regret being unable to join you today. The theme you cover in this conference is a very dear one, and I feel very honored to be part of it through the Fountain magazine that continues to publish my essays. I have been penning my humble writings with hopes for a contribution, as much as an essay can go, to a greater good for our world, to a better understanding of the meaning of our lives, to a greater appreciation of being human, the best of creation, and to promotion of mutual respect and tolerance among nations, and all the other values and high goals the Fountain aims to uphold in its pages, and cherished not to the lesser degree by the co-sponsors of this conference. Sincerely yours, Petula Gulen.
Thank you very much. I bring with you the greetings of all my Filipino friends and students from the 7,100 islands of the Philippines. Peace, assalamualaikum, greetings to all of you.
Nations and for our world. We are wholly interdependent upon one another. And I sometimes am amazed that people say those of us who see ourselves as peacemakers or peace builders are dreamers, that it's sort of elusive, and that so much is overwhelming. Why do we put our energies there? And it seems fairly simple, the response. What is our choice? The future requires that we work towards peace, and that begins with ourselves, how we perceive ourselves in our roles. And so let me thank you all for being here, because I now can look at this audience and see how diverse it is and how many of us share this commitment to a dream, if you will, a vision, if you will, but also a necessity. It's probably the most rational decision that many of us will make, and that is to pursue peace with vigor.
People attending here are Feza schools. This is a Turkish community in Tanzania, operating in Tanzania, in provision of both primary as well as secondary education to the Tanzanian children. Feza schools consist of a nursery, primary and secondary school, both ordinary level as well as advanced level. Both girls and boys are admitted to Feza schools. Nonetheless, they're guided by the same vision and mission, that is, to grow a new golden generation instilled with open-mindedness, curiosity, creativity, dignity, respect, integrity of character, value-driven attitudes, innovative minds, and synergetic coexistence.
The reality in the Philippines is we are majority Christians, if not Catholics. And so many of the faith-based Catholic institutions have actually opened up, especially in Muslim Mindanao, have opened up the campuses to Muslims. But I think the school in Zamboanga is one of the very few Muslim schools that have opened up to Christians and or Catholics. I think that makes a big difference, but it makes a very big and significant impact on a majority Christian community when a minority faith-based institution opens it's up to the majority, and there is a powerful witness value that it presents, which is many times unexpected, and I think that's where the witness value actually comes in.
Of course, the contribution of Fethullah Gulen, the Turkish Muslim philosopher, theologian, and activist. His holding an inclusive, universalist, and transcending Islamic perspective. His movement resulting, as you know, in schools integrating not only ethno-religious differences, but integrating scientific education and value-based education. And here is the reminder that education is crucially important, not only to educate for democracy, but as a means of forming and shaping people into active participants in a more tolerant and peaceful society.
Let's talk. They invited the parent to the school and they talked about a solution. They said, after all these disciplinary problems, we cannot keep your son in this school. Otherwise, he will set a bad example and we will be in a position, we will be seen as not doing something about this problem. So we have to do something. The alternative we can offer you, besides expelling your son, is to actually let him study in another campus, in another city. The father was happy. He immediately rented an apartment in this other city and sent his son to that other city, and everything is fine. So the administrators finally asked, what was the reason behind your being so vigorous, in trying to keep your son in this school? Because there are other good schools in this city. I mean, there are schools by this nation, or there is this other school that is so good in this field, and so on and so forth. There are many other good schools. Why don't you send your son to these other schools? The father said, I know that my son has a tendency to do drugs. I studied all those other schools that you mentioned. Nobody is as careful in keeping drugs away from the school environment as you are. If you expel my son, I lose my son. This is a striking example for me because this is in the country of Romania. Historically,
and I think this is repeated by several, Mahatma Gandhi, Fethullah Gulen, Nelson Mandela, all talking about the conception of how to relate to the world and being at the same time not engaged with just simply an individualistic journey, but a journey to call to duty and vocation, a journey of recognizing one's sense of what it means to be part of a humanity. It's an inner calling, but also an outward calling. It is a call to service and a means of deliberatively engaging in both meditatively and contemplative ways in order to see a direction forward. It is about deliberative action.
It's a partnership of organizations and initiatives that are supporting Plural Plus. So it's also an occasion, an opportunity to actually connect organizations. Gulen Institute is part of the partnership of Plural Plus. So Cygnus is part of Plural Plus. Chin India, UNESCO, etc., etc. So right now there are about over 50 organizations that one way or another are supporting the initiative. And it's our first official recognition, so we're very, very impressed. Thank you very much to all the organizers, and see you December 10th. Thank you.
I want to thank the Fountain and the Peace Islands Institute for coming here today, and of course the inspirer of both, Dr. Fethullah Gulen. My father, who I just learned the distinguished moderator knew and has quoted, was a professor of international business. He died last year, and when I went to go clean up his apartment, I found that on his bedstand, the last book that he was reading was Dr. Gulen's book on Towards a Global Civilization of Love and Tolerance. And actually, my father had called me the day before, about the day before he died, and had said, "I'm just reading a new book by a very interesting author. I'm learning a lot here. I can't wait to talk to you about it." We never got a chance to talk about it, and I've made a pledge since then that I'm going to try to read all 60 of Dr. Gulen's books, but the problem is he keeps writing new ones. So if anybody knows him here, please tell him to slow down a little bit so I can catch up there. But I look forward to it. It's a really inspiring book to those of you who haven't seen it.
Thank you very much. It is indeed an honor to be here and to be a part of this very important movement to advance peace in the world.
One of the things I think higher education has to do is to make itself meaningful, to have a public service agenda where you're not just preparing people to be the elites of the world, but to be the servants of the world based on the skills that they acquire, but also the skills that they allow others to acquire.
From the Philippines, mabuhay, and I take this occasion to congratulate the visionaries, a Gulen-inspired institution in Zamboanga City, southern Philippines, the Filipino-Turkish Tolerance School, and the witness that it provides the Muslims and the Filipinos and their inspiration to bring about peace.
My hope for the school is for it to stay longer and to do more for us to reap the fruit that has been planted by the school.
The volunteers of service continue to win over the hearts of many. From the Philippines to Tanzania, from America to Asia, they strive to build peace.